Hello everybody, I just want to give you guys a quick insight into how you heal a traumatic brain injury. And I have a friend who recently had a stroke. She's a young mom, and I'm actually going to give her some pointers. During her stroke, she damaged the right side of her brain, which affected the left side of her body. So that's how it works. Our brain, in many things, switches sides. Not everything, but enough for us to know. For her, the stroke, she had some Bell's palsy on the left side of her face, and her left muscles on the, her arms and her legs weren't working as well. And she's having trouble coordinating her movement, if I understand correctly, and also having some short-term memory loss. So she'll say something and then forget that she said it, and so say it again in another 5 minutes, and everyone will be like, "You just told us that." And she'll say, "I did." So anyway, that's just some evidence of an injury to her brain. In her case, it happened because of a stroke, and it can happen from many different things. It can happen from COVID. COVID damages your cerebellum. It causes a lot of swelling at your brainstem. So anyone who's had that, but mono, Lyme's disease, lots of things can do this. And so can a concussion, as it was in my case. So if you've seen my video on my concussion, you'll know that I've been going to therapy, and that has been really life-changing and helping me understand how the brain works. So the first thing I want to explain is that your eyes are a way for you to fix your brain. Your eyes at the back of your retina have millions and millions of nerve cells that we call them neurons, that attach to the retina. And as light and other information, including movement and just so many things that your body registers through your eyes, as that hits the back of your retina, it stimulates portions of your brain. And so as those brain portions are stimulated, it basically has control. So if you have someone who has an injury in a certain part of their brain, that means their neurons are not firing as they should. What you can do is stimulate those portions of the brain through the eyes. So we call this vision therapy, and it seems incredible that you could look at something and it would affect your brain. But as we stimulate those neurons, they will start to regrow, start to refire the way that they should. And so you can fix a traumatic brain injury by stimulating your eyes. I think the last time research was done on this that I read was in 2019. That the number one thing you can do for a stroke is to do vision therapy, because it accesses so much of your brain, more than you can access in any other type of therapy. So I wanted to show you some things that I have learned from my vision therapy, and it's not really what you would expect. So I'm going to show you some of those things. I'm going to let my kids demonstrate, because I've been doing it with them as well, and let you see some things. So I'm going to give you, first of all, 7 key points to keep in mind. You might want to write these down, because if you have had a traumatic brain injury, you're not going to remember them. Number 1, the frequency that you do these exercises is what matters, not how hard you work or how hard you push your brain. You don't want to push your brain to the point of getting a migraine. You don't want to push your brain to the point of feeling tingles and fuzzies all over. That is way too far. If you've done that, you need to take a break and rest. It's way more important that you just do a little bit of therapy often, maybe twice a day, but certainly every day. You should always take Sabbath off. I really think that's a key point. And you should get some good rest at night. But frequency, doing it over and over again, is really what helps those neurons grow. If you're gonna get into a good rhythm, I recommend that you set a timer on your phone that says, okay, it's time to do your therapy. Otherwise, you'll forget. Number 2, move slowly when you do exercises. Doing things quickly is not the point. You want to be slow and purposeful. I was really shocked when I went to therapy and she had me stare at a dot and then move my head. It was like this slow. I couldn't believe how slow I was moving. I thought that you would learn things by doing it quickly. So I was really surprised to learn that the best brain development happens when you do things slowly. So keep that point in mind. Number 3, you want to combine physical movement, because your eyes control your muscles and your movement, with mental thinking. So if you have to spell a word, my therapist has me spelling words that have like double L's and double R's, like broccoli and parallel and things like that, while I walk in a straight line, and I try to, very purposefully make sure my right and my arm My right and my left arms are moving in good coordination. It's really hard to do that and talk at the same time, just like I'm having a hard time talking on this video right now. As you combine mental and physical movements at the same time, you are stimulating more portions of your brain. Number 4, you need to do this consistently every day. Now, this kind of goes with the frequency thing, but you need to be consistent. Your brain needs to know that this is a movement you make. So you need to evaluate what are the parts of your life that are being affected by your injury, and you need to make sure that you are doing them every day. Pretty much the basic thing I'm trying to say is wherever you're having a point of problem, that's where you need to do therapy. So for instance, if getting car sick, being in a car makes you feel really bad and gives you a migraine and makes you feel sick to your stomach, then you probably need to be in a car every single day. And that's the last thing you want to do. If memory is your problem and you have trouble getting words out, then you need to speak more and you need to have to remember lists and you have to try to use your memory. So whatever it is that's giving you problems, that's what you need to be doing every single day. Again, take Sabbath off. Number 6, stay positive and get someone to help you stay motivated. You'll lose your motivation very quickly. You'll want to quit. So you need to have somebody who will help you stay on track. Oh, my daughter just says I missed number 5. I don't have a traumatic brain injury, not at all. Okay, number 5, and I'll come back to number 6. Do your exercises every day before you are so fatigued that you can't. Find a time in the day that you know if you go past that point, you will not have enough energy. So in other words, just like you wouldn't have your children doing their math problems at night before bed because they're too tired, you'd have them doing it in the morning. Or after school, if you send them to school, you'd have them come home after school and have a snack and then do their math homework. It's the same idea with you. Do your exercises before you've hit that point of fatigue. Don't save it for last thing at night or when you're really tired. Okay, back to number 6, stay positive. Make sure you have a friend to keep you accountable, hold you to it, keep you going. Somebody who's really upbeat and will call you up and say, did you do your exercises? Did you do your exercises? I think the value of going to a therapist was that she was always positive. She was always like, how are you doing? This is great. And I'm like, I don't really want to go today. And you won't want to, you'll want to quit. So you need to find somebody to hold you accountable. Don't try to do this on your own. Number 7, realize that this takes time. You are growing new neurons. Neurons have been damaged and you are growing new ones. So it takes a lot of time, months, okay? Maybe even years. And if you realize that this is something you're going to do for the long haul, it will help you be more reasonable. This is not something you're going to do this exercise for 3 days this week and you're suddenly going to be fixed. No, this is something that's going to take time. And if you need to know how long it takes, look at, here, I'm going to have my kiddos do me a favor. Bring some kittens into this. Bring them on over. Yeah, we have 2 new kittens in our house. And they are, what are they, 11 weeks old now? Almost. Close to it. And yeah, they're just little, probably 2.5 pounds by now, maybe close to 3, I'm not sure. We're getting them weighed in a couple days. Kittens grow slowly. They do the same things over and over again. Can I see? This is Strudel. Hey, hi, Strudel. How are you? Strudel does the same things, bounces and jumps on her sister over and over again. And as she's growing, as she bounces and tries to land on toys and to see if she can catch things, she is growing neurons. And over time, she would be able to go out and hunt and get things in the backyard, snakes and mice and things like that. Right now, she's just trying to grab for toys and grab for strings and play with earrings and do all those things. It takes time for a kitten to grow, and it will take time for your neurons to grow as well. All right, we're going to show you some exercises. I'm going to have you see some of the things that you can do. And the first thing I want you to do is try to figure out which side of your brain is affected. And if you aren't sure, here are a couple things that you can do. One of the first things we're going to do is check and see which side of the brain has been affected. Now, in a case of my friend who had a stroke, it was very clear that it was the left side of her body, but it might not be as clear on you. And so that's one of the first things you need to see. Okay, when I showed you a little bit of an up close on me, did you see that one side of my face was a little bit higher? Kids, which side of my face is a little higher than the other? Look at my eyebrows.
Your left.
My left side is higher.
I was gonna say this side, but
then my right side is a little lower. Well, my right side has is where a lot of the injury is, and so the muscles on that side are not as strong as the muscles on the left side. Now that may be something that I've had all my life. That may have nothing to do with a concussion, but it's definitely gotten stronger. Now stick your tongues out. Stick your tongue out. Say ah.
ah,
Now hers tilted a little bit to this direction. Alistair is going to tip his tongue out. Say ah.
ah.
His also tips. Now which side does mine tip? Ah.
What?
Does my tongue tip towards one side or the other? My left or my right? Ah.
No.
Is it nice and straight?
I think so.
Cool.
Not quite sure what we're looking for.
Yeah. I'm getting better.
Good, 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 okay.
Okay, maybe I'm getting better. When I first went to the neurologist, my tongue, you could see the line straight down. It was curved I can't remember which way it was now. I think it was probably to the right, but I don't remember. And it was, I don't remember which way it went. But you can definitely see that there'll be one side that it goes towards. Okay, here's a really interesting one. I'm going to have my kids walk across the room, and then I'm going to have myself walk across the room. But watch the elbow as it walks. Okay, now Alistair, come back over here. And I want you to spell the word Monday as you walk. Ready? Go.
No.
Go ahead. See if you can spell it.
Monday.
All right. Did you see what happened to his left arm? How he pulled it up a little bit? Anyway, this actually would work a lot better if you were outside and you had a good 75 or 100 feet and you had the children yell out words that they were trying to spell or give them math problems, or as my therapist does, have me count backwards from 100 by 6 or by 4. It's actually really hard. And as the person's walking, see if their arms, does one go like this? Now, if someone's just had a stroke, again, this may actually be too difficult for them, so that's something you can try. Okay, another one you can do is have them check their thumb strength. Casey, put your thumbs up and don't let me pull them down. All right, now do it again. This one is stronger, which is, I find fascinating. Okay,
All right.
try. Don't let me pull them down, okay? Nice and strong. No, stronger. Nice and strong. Good. Let's try this one. All right. Now, here's another one I'm going to do. Casey, I want you to follow my thumb all the way to your nose, and I'm going to watch her eyes, actually. It's hard to see because, sure, it's hard to see in this room. Okay, she's going to, and I'm watching her eyes. Now, Casey's going to watch my thumb. I'm going to get closer and closer, and I'm watching both of her eyes to see if either of her eyes is weak. She's doing a great job. Okay, Alistair, come stand in this exact spot. Okay, now Alistair, watch my thumb. You're doing really great too. Now, I'm going to stand in that exact spot. Casey, stand in this spot where I am. Okay, Casey. Get nice and close. Are either of my eyes having trouble?
No. Yeah, your left one.
My left one.
More.
Yep, okay. One of the very important things you need to do to get your neurons to grow is to have lots of oxygen inside your lungs, okay? Oxygen is a key to helping your brain grow. So notice how when she's breathing, her shoulders were going up and down because I told her she needs to have oxygen. But that's not very good oxygen. So I'm going to show you. Stick your hand here, right underneath your ribs. This is your diaphragm. Yes, you do it for choir. Now, when you breathe, I want you to go, huh, 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 and make your arm go up. Huh, 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 huh. Good. Yes, yeah. Try it. What? Huh, huh, huh. Make your arm. Yeah. Here, I'm going to go up a little bit. Yep. That's your diaphragm. All right. Now, I want you to breathe in, and we're going to count to 4. Okay, and then we're going to breathe out, and I'm going to count to 8. All right, I'm going to count. Ready? Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So breathing in 4, out 8 is very difficult, but you could do that. It's an exercise that you can do that helps you gain more oxygen. Another exercise that you can do is jumping jacks. Can you show us some jumping jacks? It's hard to do in a living room. Yes, that's a really good exercise to do because it uses your large muscles. You have big muscles in here. These are his bigger muscles, and in his legs. And that uses, they carry more oxygen in those big muscles. So moving them gives you oxygen, and it also expands your chest.
Opens your lungs.
So opens up your lungs, correct. Look at the orange one, and the green one, and the yellow one, and the red one, and the blue one. Were any of them difficult for you? Okay. So a pencil push-up is where I get closer and closer and closer until it becomes double, and then I go back out. And then I'm going to pick a spot across the room and look at it just to reset my eyes. And then I'm going to do another pencil push-up. I'm looking at the pink eraser and going nice and slow until it gets double. And then I go back out again. And then I look out there and rest. And then I do another. So those are pencil push-ups. All right, I'm going to wiggle a finger, and he's going to look at it. Wiggle a finger, wiggle a finger, wiggle a finger. Now, whatever side of your brain is weak, if you have injury on your left side of your body, then it's the right side of your brain that is weak. But let's pretend that he had an injury on his left side, okay? This is his left side. I want to do about 7 wiggles over here for every 3 that I do here. So a lot more on the side that is weak, but make him do some over here too, so that he gets a chance to do both sides of his brain, and you want to be really random so he doesn't know where you're going. So let's do some wiggles. And I'm watching his eyes to see if he goes straight towards it or if I tricked you. Sometimes his eyes have to go like 2 places before he can find my finger, and that's a sign that it's taking him a little bit more work. If his eye goes straight to it, then he's not having any trouble. And I did see sometimes that he had 2. Now this time I'm going to make it a little bit more difficult for him. I want you to take your left hand and I want you to touch the finger. Okay, same principle. And this, you'll notice that sometimes he misses it, which I do this too, and anybody would. You'll notice it's sometimes, we call it an intention tremor. You get almost to it and you tremor a little bit until you finally find the right spot. May not be quite that. Here, put your finger up for a second. So I'm coming to it and then I have to correct. That's an intention tremor. That's a sign that you need some more work in that area. Sometimes it's his eyes that have it. They like look and look twice, or sometimes it's the finger doing twice. Okay, a very important one, and someone can do this for you, but I'm just going to do it. Can you see me okay? I'm just going to do it with a pencil, but it's better if you have someone to help you. So if my injury is on my left side, then I'm going to go towards my right brain, okay? We're going to start on the left side, and I'm going to follow the pencil very slowly. This is really important that it's slow. And we're going to cross the middle and go towards the other side of my brain. Now, the other person can do this for you, and their finger is what you are following. And the key, again, is that it's really slow. You need to do these, we call them pursuits. You need to do them a lot. Now, here I'm going to add a little bit more intensity to it. I want you, pretend this is someone's finger again. I want you to touch it, and they're just going to move it a little bit, and you touch it again. All the way across, nice and slow. You're going to do this for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then they're going to slowly bring their finger back to your left side and touch, 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 all the way across. You can get computer software that does this, but it feels like this is doing nothing, but this is incredibly helpful for your brain. I highly recommend that one. Okay, another thing you can do is music or sound therapy. You can get apps on your phone that have either really low tones or high tones, and you can listen to that sound in the ear where you're doing work. So, for instance, when I was doing brain therapy, I would have to do an exercise, and then afterwards she would put her cell phone with this app up to my ear and I would hear a very low tone. I was doing a low tone because she was trying to stimulate the right hemisphere. If you're trying to stimulate the left hemisphere, then you would do a higher pitch tone. And the way you can tell is you can check your pulse, and if your pulse is high, that is not a good tone for you. If your pulse comes down low and is nice and steady and you feel calm and peaceful, that's a good tone for you. And sometimes you can just tell by how you feel. You can even check different ears and see which one does better for you. If you have a little oximeter that attaches to your fingertip, you can check your pulse on that, and you can even watch it. If it starts to climb, that's not a good pitch for you and it's not a good ear. And you can put it on, and if it starts to go down, that is a good pitch. Same thing, when you find which ear is a good one for you that you need to be stimulating, you can put your earbud into just that one ear, and you can listen to music that makes you feel peaceful. And you'll notice that's a different kind of music for you than it is for someone else, because it's your brain. And your brain is just different from someone else's. Okay. Another thing you can do though is, as you are stimulating with the sound, you can put your thumb up and you can stare at your thumb, and you can slowly turn your head back from right to left as you stare at your thumb. You see how slowly I did that? Slowly turn it and then put it back, and then slowly turn it to the other way. You wouldn't think that would do anything, but it just calms your whole body down, and it calms down your cerebellum, it calms down your breathing, your heart rate, and everything. So the question is, how far do you turn your head? When I said you could just put your thumb out and make that thumbnail is a dot. These are some dots that you could print and you can hang on your refrigerator, put it right at eye level. Casey, come here, and I'm gonna have you hold this. All right, so they can kind of see. And I'm going to a little bit higher because I'm a little taller than you, right at eye level, and I'm gonna stare at this dot, and without moving my eyes, I'm gonna keep my eyes at that dot. I'm moving my head till my nose gets all the way over there, and then back again, and then my nose over to here. The whole time I'm staring at this dot, I'm not moving. All right, so over, back, nice and slow. Now I'm gonna stare at this dot, and I'm gonna turn my head, and then turn my head, and then back. And now I'm gonna go to this dot and do it. Turn my head, turn my head. This is like recalibrating your brain so that your brain knows where everything is at. Now let's try the top one, and then go back, and then the bottom one. And I like to finish with the one in the middle, just to kind of get everything set back to where it's supposed to be. You know, if any time you're getting a migraine and feeling like a migraine is coming on, that's a fantastic exercise to do. It just resets everything. You can use your thumb though if you're not, don't have hands available. Now, another thing that you might find difficult is what we call vestibular issues, where you start to feel a little bit dizzy. If you have trouble, if you spin in a circle, a good way to test, Casey, come back over. Put your thumb or put your hand up. How about that? And I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to turn in a circle, and I'm going to see if I can find her hand again. My eyes are closed. I'm turning. You would think this would be really easy. And then I'm going to, when I think I'm back at it again, I'm going to try to hit her palm. I didn't quite get it, but pretty close. So that's a vestibular issue. If someone is just way off, then you know they have this issue, or if they get sick. So one of the things that you can do is you can put both of your thumbs up, and you can just, whichever direction you have problems. I actually have problems more to this direction. I'm going to stare at this thumb. I'm going to follow it and then go back to the middle. And then follow it and then go back to the middle. I wanted to mention that when you are done checking those things, whatever side of your body is weak, you might want to stimulate it. So let's say I do some arm circles for a minute. Better back up so I don't hit you. And that kind of stimulates that side of your brain. Or you could hold on to a vibrating toothbrush, or you could, have somebody rub that side of your leg or something like that, and then go back and do more dots. Anything to kind of break it up and get that side of your body moving, and let your brain know that you need to get it activated. Alistair, hop on. All right, this is called the Wobble Board. My husband made it, and I'm going to show you a close up in a little bit. But what's happening is as he wobbles, the nerves in his ankles are sending signals to his brain, and they're actually stimulating various parts. So this is, instead of eye treatment and letting stimulation come in through your eyes, this is letting stimulation come in through your feet. And kids have 1,000,001 ways they can do this. Just going to any playground and letting them play will do a lot of the same things. So this is one of the reasons why people say play is so important for children who are developing.